welcome. This is going to be my first knitting podcast episode. I guess not podcast necessarily, but I just want to go over what I'm working on right now, which is all over here, and then also what I am planning to do for fall and winter of 2023. I recently got a job at a yarn shop, and it's my favorite job, so there will be many more projects to come after this. But first, what I am wearing, obviously, the Ranunculus. It's our favorite. We love it. This is made with the Plymouth Aredo yarn, so it is baby alpaca, merino, and nylon. It's got that like really fluffy blown yarn construction. It was kind of a nightmare to work with. I would not recommend wearing black or any dark colors while knitting with this yarn. It was baby alpaca everywhere. It originally was actually supposed to be the sable sweater by Well Loved Knits, but the yarn was just a little bit too chunky, and the way that it draped was weird and gross, and I didn't like it. So I took it apart, but because I was holding 2 strands at a time, they all got stuck together, and then I spent 4 hours pulling them apart so that I would have enough yarn to finish this sweater. It is perfect. I love it. Everything about it is exactly what I wanted. The only thing perhaps I would do differently is just not doing the short rows in the very front, just because if I try to scrunch it up on my shoulders, it does tend to go up my neck a little bit, but with the wider neck, it's fine. It should be totally okay. I followed some tips from, I think, Kim and Joanna. Can't remember at the moment. But she said she just started with the 90 stitches for the larger neckline without doing any sort of tubular bind off or tubular cast on. And I think it turned out perfect. It's my favorite sweater, and I love wearing it. And it's extremely warm, but it is soft enough that I am not wearing anything underneath. It's great. Now for whips. Let's start with the thing that's been on my needles the longest, which is the Nurture Bralette. It is incredibly cute. I got this yarn, which is on my cart, the Seismic yarn, More Salt Than Pepper. It is the Seismic Butter Sock base. It is really soft. And then the Nurture Bralette has kind of a strange construction. So you start, I think you start there, yeah. You start with the little back piece, and then you do the whole strap, and then you go, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I started it. You go all the way down, come down the cup, and then you do short rows, and then you also do like this little back section. So there's an I-cord there, and then you connect it in the round. There's a bunch of shaping. There's some twisted rib on the side edge. And now I think I am going to try it on again and see how much more I need in the body, because I am doing it more in a tank top style, and then figure out the stitch distribution for the lace pattern that goes at the bottom. But that I've kind of put aside because that's going to take more, well, it's gonna take a lot of focus, and I don't feel like doing that right now. So it's gonna have to wait just a little bit. Also because I have to transfer it onto a separate cord so I can try it on again. But the last time I tried it on, it fit perfectly. So up next is the Coral Reef Scarf. Let me check my notes because I wrote all of this down. The Coral Reef Scarf is by Lisa Hannes, and it is one size, but I am using the Fiberco Cumbria Fingering Weight. Let's see. Maybe not. I will put all of this in the description, but it is that mixed with Anzula Hazy, which is, I believe, a Surrey. Yeah, what are you? 75% baby Surrey alpaca, 25% silk. And it is lovely. It is soft and squishy, and there's a great variation in color there. So cute. But I am just holding one strand of each of those. Where's the front? That's the front. Even though it is mostly a reversible pattern. It's not cabling, it's just ribbing and increases and decreases. So this is actually the third time I've restarted it. I started it once with just 2 strands of the Cumbria fingering, and it was a little bit too thick, too stiff, at least for this project. It also was curling a lot on the sides because of the I-cord edge, so I tried to do it with just 1 strand, and then it was, the stitches weren't super great. They were a little too loose, but the fabric was a lot softer. So I decided to add a little bit of something fuzzy to it, and on the I-cord edges on this one, every time I did the I-cord, I slipped it back and did another I-cord round. So instead of slipping, knitting 3, at the end of the round, I would slip 3 with my yarn in front, turn it around, knit 3, slip those back on with the yarn behind. Wow. Slip them back onto my left needle and then knit them again. So I basically did 2 rows of I-cord, and you can't really tell because of the fuzzy. So it's fine, and we're gonna see how that goes. But I really love the color. It's kind of plummy, plum jam. I don't know, it's fine. And then the basket weave sweater. Let me find the pattern name. I believe it's the Korshavn Slipover by Tonje Hodne. Hodne? I don't know what language it was originally written in, but the pattern is incredibly confusing, and I was having a lot of trouble with it. I know there was another YouTuber who made it and had to move some stitches around so that the pattern was balanced on the front, because you end up with these little squares and holes in there to make the basket weave pattern. The lighting here is great. But in the pattern, if you follow it exactly, it makes it so that you end up with like half a repeat, or half a repeat on one side and a full repeat on the other, and it's not what I wanted it to look like. So I had to do a bunch of math, and I failed at that the first time. So then I had to rip the entire thing out okay, not the entire thing. I had to rip it back to the ribbing. And then I started again, and I think the first row I did was wrong again. So I ripped it out. Finally got somewhere, figured out where I was going to decrease for the sleeves because it is worked bottom up. So the ribbing here is where you start, and then you go up the front and then up either side of the front and then up the back. But it was a challenge. And then I got the edges cast off or the two sides cast off for splitting for the front and the back panel. And I realized that in order to continue the pattern flat, I was on the wrong side for the chart. So then I had to rewrite the pattern for doing the decrease and yarn over row from the purl side. And it took me like 6 tries. So I almost gave up on this. I almost put it in prison with prison forever, or just gave up. But I finished at least most of the front here, so I think it's going to turn out okay. I'm hoping that that will be done soon. I think I could finish it by a week or 2 from now. I am hoping to be able to use only the rest of this yarn. The twisted rib ribbing on the sleeves and the neckline are both folded, so we'll see if that's enough. Also, sorry if you hear my upstairs neighbors. They like to stomp around and be loud. So with this bottom part, it was quite consumptive. We're gonna get that out. It was pretty thick and it uses up quite a bit of yarn, so I'm hoping that I have enough. And if I don't, there's only one store near me, I think, that does stock this Barocco vintage, which I believe it's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon. But I actually got this at the local consignment crafts store. So each one of these skeins was $5, which is pretty great. And yeah, that's it. I just don't want to have to buy more yarn for this because $30 for enough yarn to make an entire vest would be really nice. I would like to only spend that much on yarn all the time, but I also like working with fiber and pretty fibers and fancy things. So those are all of my whips for knitting. I also, when I got really frustrated with my vest because I was at the yarn shop at work, I just purchased a little mini skein and started working on a granny square just so that I could do something mindless and uncomplicated and just take my mind off that project because I was done working on it for the day. So this, I think I'm just gonna keep making when I get frustrated with projects, or if I don't want to work on the project I brought to work. I'm just gonna buy a little mini skein and start working, preferably. I think I'm just gonna do earth tones, or like earth tones and kind of gem colors. So either like this, dark purples, browns, greens, dark colors. And then I think I'm going to blend these squares with either some white, some cream, or some other color. maybe really, really, really dark brown, and make them into a little blanket. Just a little. There's my neighbors ringing their phones. Yeah, so I think that is all of the projects I have in progress, aside from a green hat. Oh, 1 second. My socks. My little tiny pride socks. Pride socks because they are going to be rainbow, and also because I started them in June. And it is September 26th. So I have that much of that one and that much of the other. They are so close to being ready for the heel. I just haven't been working on them, and I need to get back to them. Maybe that'll be my work project next week, or this week. I don't want to do the heels, and I don't want to do the toes, but I will, and they'll be finished, and then I can start something better. I also have a green hat that is the Jason's Cashmere Hat on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. Was my first cable pattern, like finished cable pattern, and I can't find it. It is lost in my house. I had it maybe 2 weeks ago. I took it camping with me, and now it's gone. So, hope it shows up, because it has my favorite hat knitting needles in it, and I would like to find it. Anyway, I am going to transition into fall and winter knitting plans. Maybe some non-knitting plans. But because I live in California, we don't really have much of like a difference between fall and winter. It is pretty mild most of the time. We definitely do get days that are absolutely freezing cold, which is what this sweater is going to be for, and what my vest is going to be for. Hopefully I'll be able to finish that before it gets actually cold, but we'll see. So up next for fall winter knitting plans, it is my mom's birthday in like a month or so. So I am going to make her another ranunculus. Same exact this one. I think I'm not gonna buy any more of this exact yarn. I still have almost enough, like exactly, I need exactly 100 grams more of this yarn if I were to make it in the same exact yarn. But I think I'm going to use the Wool in the Gang Feelin' Good, which is, I think, basically the same weight, same fuzziness, but I'm going to check on that when I go to work tomorrow. And then, surprise, I'm making another ranunculus. This is going to be with Madeline Tosh, Tosh Merino Light, and Impression. So Tosh Merino Light is the 100% superwash merino wool, and Impression is 70% mohair, 30% silk. And it's in this super, super bright, chartreusey, kind of variegated color. But I think it's more variegated just because of the way the light hits the yarn. So I got this while I was on the Wine Country Yarn Hop with my friend. We were trying to win a bunch of stuff, and we didn't win anything. But I got some really cool yarn, so I got that and the speckle yarn for the Nurture Bralette. That one is going to be just the like t-shirt style, so no sleeves. Everything else the same, but I think it's just gonna be a little sleeve. I think I'm going to, if I have enough yarn, crochet like a little scallop for the sleeve edges instead of ribbing. And then I received this. This is a really, really bulky weight mohair in white. It originally is from Jane Stafford Textiles. I think it was given to me by my grandma. She used to go buy a bunch of textiles. Everything she gave me was all 100% natural fibers. This is so bulky. So I'm going to be making the Fuzzy Wuzzy jumper by Eliza on Ravelry. I've been wanting to make that sweater forever. So I have white, and I also have this kind of green-brown, greeny beige. I don't know. There is, let's see, this one is 448 grams, and this is 465 grams, which I think should be enough if I want to make a striped sweater, if I want to make it striped, or if I want to just do all white, which I have 2 more balls of this. Not exactly sure how much they weigh. Can't really weigh this because it has the cone in there and it's really thick, but it does have a little bit of information on the inside there. Fuzzy Wuzzy jumper. Should be pretty quick and easy. So I'm going to do those. And then the condiments cardigan. So the week before I got the yarn shop job, I went in because I had a I had a gift card from my boyfriend's mom. And I bought these. So I have ketchup, mustard, relish, and barbecue sauce. So these are the Scout by Kelborn Woolens. And they're really squishy and they're really soft. And I want to do something inspired by, but not exactly the same as the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan by Katryn Seeburger. I really love the quilted motif on her cardigan, but I don't like how baggy, I don't like the shape of the side. So I want to make something more fitted, maybe more of a drop shoulder. So maybe, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I want it to be a little closer fitted. So I want to experiment a little bit more with some double knitting and color work, ways of doing color work. I think, is that it? No, it's not it. Yeah, so the condiments cardigan, and then the Let Me Tell You About My Boat by Chase Clark. I think I want to do either a green or a really dark brown. I'm definitely going for all earth tones. Tends to be what the colors that I wear, aside from today. This is not usually the colors that I wear, but I love this sweater, so I'm wearing it. And then, of course, I'm gonna make more mittens and socks, and mittens and socks. That's it.